about persevering, not quitting, not giving up, surrounding yourself with the right people, making the right decisions. And what this is talking about is the building, the tower. It's building your own character. It's building your own character of who you are, what you stand for, what you want to set the example of. And basically, that's the beautiful thing about the Bible. It's at many, many levels, and that's why we read it our whole life over and over again. Some of the things that we read last year, you read them again today, and it'll get a whole deeper understanding because hopefully you've matured and you're more ready to receive the message that awaits you in the Word there. So what I'm trying to tell you is Luke 14:28-30. It's got the exact, at the surface level, you better understand what your costs are going to be before you start a project. But if you go a lot deeper, it's really your project, building your life, and what the true cost is about following Christ. So it's all right there for you, and I can tell you this. If you listen to what I just said, I believe that the chances for you to succeed in life are going to be absolutely outstanding. So, with that said, remember this. If you go into business for yourself, it's going to be hard, difficult, but the rewards can be phenomenal. The freedom that you have when you're your own boss is one of the most wonderful, precious freedoms that we have here in America. But you have to be prepared. You have to know the risk. You have to do your homework. So, with that said, let's take a little story that I wrote. It's on page 40 of Personal Finance, Small Business Ownership. I've told you all along that this series that I'm doing, Personal Finance and Small Business Ownership, is coming right out of a seminar that's in a workbook that's on the website, brightthink.org, under documents by the same name, Personal Finance and Small Business Ownership. So here's a little story that I want to give you to illustrate the following point. Many, many people are in business, and they do not have a clue of what their costs are. And so just a real simple little phrase, the hurrieder I go, the behinder I get. So keep that thought in mind as I read you this. This is called, it's on page 40, example of not knowing your costs. There's this little second grade girl who wants a $50 Barbie doll. So she asks her parents, Mommy, Daddy, will you buy me that Barbie doll? They can't afford to buy the $50 doll, and it's not Christmas or her birthday. They don't have any extra money. They just can't do it. Times are tight. There is a PTA bake sale coming up at her school, so they say to her, why don't we sell cakes at the PTA bake sale, and if we make $50, we will buy you the Barbie doll. So they get a table in the hallway at the PTA bake sale and sell cakes. Their cost for each cake is $6. They sell each cake for $10. So they're going to make $4 each time they sell a cake. They need to sell 12 and a half cakes to make the $50 that they need. But since they aren't selling half cakes, they need to sell 13 cakes to make enough money to buy the Barbie doll. As soon as the little girl sells 5 cakes and has 5 $10 bills in her hand, she starts jumping up and down saying, oh, goody, goody, Mommy and Daddy, we can buy the Barbie doll now. She doesn't have a clue about the cost. All she knows is that she has the $50 that they need. There are many, many businesses that operate just like that little girl. They don't have a clue about their cost. All they think about are their sales. Okay, so that's the $50 Barbie doll story. It's on page 40 on personal finance, small business ownership, under documents on rightthink.org, RIGHTTHINK.org. Let's talk about the $50 Barbie doll story for a minute. There are many, many businesses that are small businesses, and they're very, very dedicated. They work hard. They get up in the morning, could be husband and wife or whatever, and they go to work, and they work really, really hard. One of the things about being in small business that you have to understand is you will not be able to generally afford to pay for other people to do a whole lot of the functions that are necessary for you to do in your business. Just remember this. You got to have bookkeeping. You got to keep track of things. You're going to have to do sales tax reports. You're going to have to do income taxes. You're going to have to do payroll tax reports. You're going to have a lot of administrative functions that require information that is going to be gotten from your bookkeeping, other than that you need it to be able to monitor your activities so you can see how you're doing and make adjustments as you go further. Well, when you're in business for yourself, you're going to be wearing a lot of hats. You are going to be the chief cook and bottle washer of your business. Later on, when you grow and get more successful and it stabilizes and you start to become profitable and very successful, then you hire other people, and then you do other things that can bring more business to the company and grow it. But in the beginning, you're not going to have a lot of money to pay other people to do things that need to be done. So this morning on Jeff's show, to come back to that for a second, boy, Jeff talked about last week he had a hard week. He worked from 7 in the morning till 7:30 at night just about every single day. And when he had a technical problem, he had to get in there and take care of how to fix it. Well, just remember this. If you're not the kind of person that is prepared to do whatever it takes to clean the toilets, to mop the floors, to put out the trash, if you're not that kind of person, do not go into business for yourself, because there's not going to be anybody else there ultimately at the end of the day. And if you're not running your business and managing it properly, and your employees get disgruntled with you and they leave you, if you can't meet payroll and they leave you, you're going to be stuck holding the bag, so to speak. You're going to be responsible. So one of the very best ways to become successful in business is to fully understand what your goals are, other than once it gets into operation. The big goal is to support your lifestyle. I've covered that pretty completely the last couple of weeks. But now let's talk about how you actually are going to manage your business to achieve that goal. And in the book that I have, there's going to be a page in there. I don't know the page number right now, but it shows you the basic financial statement of a business. And to simplify it, you have sales at the top. So you're gonna sell something, a service, a product, whatever. You're gonna sell something, and there's going to be a direct cost associated with whatever it is you sell. The costs to produce to turn raw materials into whatever your product is. So there's a cost, and there may be labor that has to be put in. So there's raw materials and labor, and then there's incidentals. And if you're doing something that requires tools to make, you're going to have to replace the drill bits every now and then, and you're going to have to buy a bunch of nails, and you got all sorts of little costs that you're going to have to keep track of. Okay. After you get these costs that we're going to call your direct costs, you get a subtotal. And that number in general accounting is called your gross profit. So above the gross profit is your sales less whatever it costs you to directly make or be able to produce your product. That's your gross product. And then after your gross profit, you're going to have all of your expenses that are your what they call variable in some classrooms, that are your rent, telephone, utilities. These are your overheads, and these are going to be there whether you sell product or not. And then somewhere in there, you're going to have to take out payroll for whoever it is that you're hiring to help you do this. Some of the payroll may be a direct cost because they're on the line making the products, or some of it may be administrative costs. But either way, you're going to have payroll or labor expense. So you finally get it down to a subtotal, and somewhere in there, you want to pay yourself. If you don't want to pay yourself, which there are some situations where you don't have to pay yourself. There's a lot of very successful people who start a small business that's more of a hobby, that doesn't matter if it really makes money or not. It keeps everybody in the family happy, and they don't really need the money. Well, if you're fortunate enough to be in a situation where you can run your own small business without having to be concerned whether it's profitable or not, and my definition of profit includes paying yourself your paycheck, money that you need to take out. Hey, if you're fortunate enough to not have to take any money out, and that you've got extra capital in reserve, that if your business is actually losing money, that you can afford to keep it going by putting in more of your own money, then I'm glad for you. That's a very good situation, and in some cases, it's just really nice. It might be a company that doesn't care about making money, but it does a lot of things for charity. It gives a lot of donations to food kitchens or whatever. So, hey, if that's who you are, then keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing your part to help make the world a better place, and I compliment you for doing that. But if you're one of the many, many people that business is a little more critical that you pay yourself, then let's talk about what's involved in paying yourself. I'm going to talk at a very simplified level for a second, and then I'm going to delve into some of the details. Basically, you're going to have to sell enough product, get enough money coming in to cover all of the direct costs and all of your expenses, to be able to make enough money to pay everybody that needs to get paid, including yourself. So you have to be profitable to sustain. If you don't make enough to do that, it's just a matter of time before your personal resources are going to be not enough to keep the business going, your credit's not going to be there to keep it going, and you're going to have to say, I tried, but I can't keep it going. I'm going to close my business down. Well, I'm a problem solver. You know, this is America. You can do anything you set your mind to if you surround yourself with the right people and have the right values and go about it the right way. Get all the right licenses. Market yourself correctly. There's lots of things. Hey, being in business for yourself has hundreds and hundreds of things that you're going to need to do if you're going to be successful. But right now, I'm talking about cost again. I told you the $50 Barbie doll story. So if you manage your business and you have in your mind the gross profit, which is the sales less the direct costs, if you know that number and you achieve that number by selling enough sales, make enough sales, cover all your costs, hit your gross profit, your targeted gross profit, and you've calculated what that number needs to be ahead of time to do two things. And this is the Steve Copeland method of managing, and I've been doing it for 45 years. I've passed it on to quite a few people, had some wonderful successes. It works for me, and I'm going to give it to you now. And it's not by my book. My book's right there on the internet for free. I hope you enjoy it. I'm giving it to you from my heart because I want you to have a better life. Here's what it is. Instead of starting at